Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq greets His Highness the Emir of Qatar on his country's National Day anniversary. And more than 89% of executive works are completed of the water pipeline project in the Wilaya of Duqm in the Governorate of Wusta. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq has sent a cable of greetings to His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of Qatar, on the occasion of his country's National Day anniversary. The future vision that His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq has approved during his meeting with the Council of Ministers is the basis of the Omani economy and development. The vision focuses on modernizing the infrastructure and establishing a comprehensive spatial system and railways that invest on high access to technology and communication system to keep Oman abreast in the global race for logistical facilities. The wheel of development will remain rolling for Oman, fueled by the desires of the Omanis and the guidance of His Majesty the Sultan. In this stage of development, the focus will be on diversifying the Omani economy and minimizing the dependency on oil and gas. The vision is to raise the contribution of non-oil contribution to over 91%. Oman Vision 2040 is looking to generating wealth through diversified economy with a prominent role for the private sector. Omani Vision 2040 aspires to achieve a balanced economy for all governorates through optimal utilization of natural resources to secure a sustainable and comprehensible development. Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Ministry of Social Development, participated in the 40th Ordinary Meeting for Arab Ministers of Social Affairs. The virtual meeting was organized by the Arab League. During the meeting, recommendations issued from all special conferences on the policies for eradication of poverty were approved. The meeting also agreed to give support to the CARE project for high-priority community members from a human rights perspective. In addition, the meeting highlighted and reaffirmed the role of civil community in spreading awareness during crises and catastrophes. The Sultanate of Oman was represented by Her Excellency Layla bint Ahmed al-Najjar, Minister of Social Development. The Ministry of Higher Education, Research and Innovation signed a cooperation agreement to fund a number of academic scholarships for graduating general diploma students. As per the agreement, Oman Telecommunication Company Omantel will fund 11 scholarships for bachelor degree for students of social security families in electronics and telecommunication specializations. It was signed by Her Excellency Dr. Rahma bint Ibrahim al-Mahrouqiya, Minister of Higher Education, Scientific Research and Innovation, and Talal bin Saeed al-Ma'mari, the Chief Executive Officer of Omantel. The agreement came as continuation of active partnership between the higher education and other sectors and a reflection of commitment to social responsibility in achieving sustainable development. More than 89% of executive works were accomplished for the water pipeline project in the Wilaya of Duqm in the Governorate of Wusta. The project is expected to be completed by the mid of next year. The project includes the establishment of water distribution networks at Al-Ajaiz and Hema areas at the length of more than 93 kilometers. The project came to meet the water needs and keep pace with the spatial development in the Wilaya. Still to come in our news bulletin. Snowfall continued across the U.S. as the national vaccination campaign against COVID-19 is in progress. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. His Highness Sayyid Yazan bin Haytham Al Saeed, Minister of Culture, Sports and Youth, launched on the 16th of December 2020 the works of the 39th General Assembly meeting of the Olympic Council of Asia in Muscat. More details in the following report.
The General Assembly of the Olympic Council of Asia voted on the 16th of December during its 39th meeting in Muscat to choose between Doha and Riyadh to host the 2030 Asian Games. The hosting rights for the 2030 Asian Games was one of the most important files of the meeting. The meeting included presentations by the delegations of the two countries nominated for hosting, followed by the report of the committee formed by the OCA that visited the two countries. After the vote, the OCA General Assembly revealed the name of the host country for the 2030 Asian Games to be Qatar, with Saudi Arabia to host the 2034 edition.
The voting procedures has been done, and we approved by General Assembly the voting approach with the electronic and manual for the 26 NOC country here. I can now announce on behalf of the Olympic Council of Asia, the city who have the high vote and will host 2030 is Doha.
The OCA also honoured a group of Asian personalities with the Merit Award in appreciation of their effective contributions and outstanding efforts in these sports fields. The 39th General Assembly of the Olympic Council of Asia concludes today with the announcement that the host country for the 2030 Asian Games will be Qatar, voted for electronically by the members of the National Olympic Committees. Ahmed Mahmoud Al-Hanai, Muscat.
The Ministry of Health announced that the total number of COVID-19 cases registered in the Sultanate reached 127,019, while the total number of deaths reached 1,483. The total recovered cases reached 119,009. The ministry indicated that the total number of inpatients reached 103, 43 of which are in intensive care units. Oman Oil price February 2021 delivery reached $51.61 per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman Oil price rose by 65 cents. The average price of Oman Oil January 2021 delivery reached $43.83 per barrel, thus $2.72 higher than the price of December 2020 delivery. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has registered camel racing in its list of intangible cultural heritage following an application submitted by the Sultanate and the United Arab Emirates recently. A decision to this effect was made by the International or Intergovernmental Community or Committee for Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage during its 15th meeting held via video conferencing. The achievement comes in recognition of the leading role of the Sultanate in documenting elements of Omani culture and as a culmination of efforts undertaken by the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Youth and the Omani National Committee for Education, Culture and Sciences. The Omani Camel Race Racing Federation continues to hold such races in various governorates of the Sultanate with the aim to preserve this cultural heritage and pass it to the next generations. In this regard, a number of camel races were held in the following areas: Wilaya of Saham in the governorate of North Batina, Wilaya of Al-Musana'a in governorate of South Batina, Wilaya of Al-Mudaybi in governorate of North Sharqiya, and the Wilaya of Thamreit in the governorate of Dhofar. Saudi Arabia has kicked off its COVID-19 inoculation campaign with the kingdom's health minister Tawfiq Al-Rabai'a as receiving the first dose a week after authorities approved the Pfizer vaccine. He said that the government is confident of the safety of the vaccine, vowing that all citizens in the country with a population of 34 million people would get injections free of charge. Al-Rabai'a hailed the start of the campaign as the beginning of the relief of the pandemic crisis, adding that he expects distribution centers in all regions of the kingdom to receive doses of the vaccine by Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech. Authorities said they would give priority to health workers, citizens and residents over 65 years old and those with underlying health conditions such as obesity in the first phase of the rollout. Although cases have declined in recent weeks, Saudi Arabia has struggled to contain a major coronavirus outbreak that has killed more than 6,000 people. The novel coronavirus has killed at least 1.65 million people since the outbreak emerged in China last December. Around 74.2 million cases of coronavirus have been registered. Of these, at least 47.6 million are now considered recovered. Yesterday, 13,886 new deaths and 720,746 new cases were recorded worldwide. The United States is the worst affected country, with 307,512 deaths from almost 17 million cases, and around 6.3 million people have been declared recovered. After the U.S., the hardest hit countries are Brazil, with 183,735 deaths, India, 144,451, Mexico with 115,769, and Italy with 66,537 deaths. Europe overall has 498,962 deaths, Asia 208,118, the Middle East 85,841, and Africa 57,403 deaths. Following the successful return of moon rocks by its Chang'e 5 robotic probe, China is preparing for future missions that could set the stage for an eventual lunar base to host human explorers. China's next 3 lunar missions are on track, along with programs for returning samples from Mars and exploring asteroids and the planet Jupiter. Named after the Chinese goddess of the moon, the Chang'e program has made 3 landings there, including on its less explored far side. Chang'e 6, scheduled for a 2023 launch, is to collect more samples from the lunar South Pole, while its 2 successors are to conduct detailed surveys and test technologies needed for the construction of a science base on the moon. The capsule of the Chang'e 5 probe and its cargo of samples were flown to the space program's Beijing campus after landing just before 2 a.m. local time today. Snow continued to fall across the U.S. during a key period in the coronavirus pandemic, days after the start of the national vaccination campaign and in the thick of a virus surge that has throngs of people seeking tests daily. Snow fell from northern Virginia to parts of New England yesterday. It carried on north into the evening, sustaining a storm that was poised to drop as much as 2 feet of snow in some places today. Officials said that they didn't expect the winter blast to disrupt vaccine distribution, which began Monday for frontline healthcare workers. The National Weather Service said that the storm was set to bring an overabundance of hazards from the mid-Atlantic to the northeast, including freezing rain and ice in the mid-Atlantic, heavy snow in the New York City area and southern New England, strong winds and coastal flooding, and possibly even severe thunderstorms and some tornadoes in North Carolina's Outer Banks. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main headlines once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq greets His Highness the Emir of Qatar on his country's National Day anniversary. And more than 89% of executive works are completed of the water pipeline project in the Wilaya of Duqm in the Governorate of Al-Wusta. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.